Are you guys ready to talk about the biggest rematch of the year that everybody's been waiting on?
Fury Usyk too. You're skipping Navarrete Valdez to talk about Fury Usyk too.
Shut up, man.
Right.
He threw me off.
Yo, that thing went 6 rounds. I didn't think it was going past 4.
I didn't think it's going past 2.
I really didn't. I didn't think it was going past 2. But once it went past the 3rd, I was like, all right. Listen, and Oscar Valdez, all the respect to him.
Yeah.
I just, it's written on the walls. You've been in too many wars, and you fought. Prime example. Once you fight yourself there, you stay there, but you stay there until you can't fight there anymore. And I think that he's now fighting himself out of that position. Prime example of what I'm talking about. Once you get there, you stay there. And if the fire's a little too hot, be realistic and honest with yourself and your team, and y'all take a step back if it's needed. But if you're like someone like Oscar Valdez, who fought himself to a prime position like that, you stay there until you can't stay there no more. But yeah, man, that looked bad. He got a couple of good shots in on Navarrete, and you know me, I'm always going for the underdog. So I'm like, all right, here we go. Nah, wasn't it? So.
It's like he was fighting to survive the whole fight.
Well, I think I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Antt.
Yeah, go ahead, my brother.
I don't think you mean it in the sense we usually think of. I'm going to move around the ring excessively.
No. It wasn't like that.
Yeah. You mean like fighting with desperate, like he was desperate?
Yeah. And that felt like that from the start, especially after knockdown.
Yeah, he had a couple of get off wins.
Yeah, big shot.
He had a couple of take some of this.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Navarrete's unconventional style. And I know a lot of people thought that I fought ugly. And I think that along the way I was able to clean it up enough for those who thought that I was an ugly fighter. But I think this dude is not. He ain't the most aesthetically, but it works for him. It gets a little annoying sometimes because it's like, that's not supposed to work. That's not supposed to happen. Like, but he's strong and he's big. And at 130, what do you think? What do you think about him now at 130?
I still think he didn't look quite in the shape that he did when he first got to 130, but definitely better shape than he was back in May at 135. So somewhere in between. And yeah, just to your point of how awkward he is. I mean, he'll switch southpaw and throw an uppercut from way out, but everything, like his style is the true definition of method to the madness. There's a rhyme or a reason for most of what he does. And, Valdez allows him to display how unorthodox, rangy he is. The guy's rangy. You think there's holes there between those looping shots. So I'm going to step in and sharpshoot. And then he works both sides of the plate really well, and to the head and to the body, and you don't know where it's coming from. And then his chin may be up and off kilter, but he makes you miss. And he knows what he's doing while he's doing it. It's not by luck or anything, he's not just getting lucky and being awkward. It's almost like awkward is an oversimplification, even though he definitely is awkward because there's so much method to it all. He's all of that awkwardness. You know? And then them heavy ass hands they really help him too.
Hey, Antt, the matchmaker, got something for him?
I mean, let's unify him and Foster.
Ooh.
Great contrast of styles.
Yeah, beautiful fight.
Let's talk. Yeah, all this talk.
Both guys ready for it.
Top ranks, both fighters.
Both guys ready for it.
He was in the building last night too, right? Sean Zittel?
He was. I talked to him after the fight.
Yeah, that's why I seen it.
Okay. Yeah. He definitely. It's going to come down to Top Rank's business prerogatives. Do they? We know that. Do they believe? Because Foster may very well win that fight. Do they believe in Foster enough to allow him to knock off a guy who sold 10,000 tickets with Valdez twice and does okay? He does okay. Makes them a little bit of money each time out. So will they risk that, or will they look to bring Espinoza up from 26 in an all Mexican fight that you could put in Arizona, California, you know what I mean? Like, so that's going to dictate if we get the unification. And then if I can real quick, just talk about Valdez, fellas. Like I said last week, like he's the old school fighter where the ring retires him, not the other way around. And there's a beauty to that. There's a beauty in what Shawn was talking about earlier, being like Andre Ward, getting out of there with all the significant fights pretty much under your belt, your accomplishments under your belt, and you get out of there on your time. You don't let the game retire you. But there's also something beautiful and to be said about the old style that Valdez is, where, man, you're gonna have to carry me out of this ring on a stretcher. I'm just that kind of fighter. And Valdez, he seems like a spent force, not in his reflexes or his hand speed. A lot of that stuff pretty much looked the same last night. It's his ability to take punishment, man. He was getting hit with the same shots 2 years ago and could take it for 12 rounds. The body's not responding the way it used to because he's been in too many wars. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Too many wars. Now you got to pick your poison carefully. Pick your poison carefully at this point. Not too much more to say about him. And then Navarrete just kind of doing, I guess, given the opponent, he did what we expected him to do. And then in terms of who he is and how he looked on fight night, he pretty much looked how we thought he was going to look. I would love to see.
Shawn.
I believe it. I told you. This is part of the game, man. This is. I feel like I know this wave that's about to happen with this sport. We're gonna see more young fighters getting championships opportunities sooner. I feel like Teofimo Lopez was the first to really kind of pull that from the business and kind of convince them, hey, I'm ready, I can do it. And he did it. I think a lot of fighters we're seeing now, just like we have with other sports, a lot of these fighters have personal challenges. And I think that, man, it's a whole lot that I really don't want to get into, but to keep it plain and simple, the generations that we are in now, the way we are built now is not how boxers, sports, athletics was built in the 70s, the 80s, the early 90s, and even the early 2000s. I think the maturation process, and I'm not gonna go there, but I just think that there's been this turnover, and I think I guess I can say it like this. The thing that they say about our generation is that we want everything fast, we want everything quick, and I think that is kind of becoming what athletics is as well. We've seen the whole NFL or what is that? IF. No. What is that? The athletes getting paid in college.
NIL.
NIL. Excuse me. We've seen the whole NIL process take place, and I think that it's just kind of that's where athletics is now. So don't be surprised when these guys start retiring sooner. But the thing we can do, put them fights in they face and make sure that they get them.
You got to give us our fights.
You don't got to fight till your 40s. You could retire in your 30s, but make sure, like Andre Ward, make sure you get the meaningful ones out of the way and then go on about your life.
Hey, before y'all leave Navarrete thing, how y'all feel about Top Rank letting him keep his title but go up to 135 and possibly fight Loma? That's too much for Loma. Lomachenko, y'all act like y'all know who Loma is.
I was waiting on Zittel. I like it.
You got a bunch of great young lightweights. What are you concerned about moving Navarrete, who looked bad at 135, back for that fight? You either put Murataya or Keyshawn in there with him instead of Abdullah's way too young. But you got Keyshawn and Murataya right here. Why would you move Navarrete back up to a weight class where he didn't look good for Loma?
It's like no matter what with the Loma thing, Top Rank gonna do whatever they can to keep that belt.
He called you out.
Yeah.
No. Called you out, man.
No.
He said, "Why would you do that?"
That's his job.
Said, "Why would you do that?"
hey, why is Lamont fighting Tank Davis?
He put you back in your place, and you gonna come up with that. You gonna come up with that.
Hey, no. That's what it sounds. I'm just saying. Why? That's boxing. No, ain't to him. Boxing don't make sense. it's like they always do nonsense. Like, come on, boxing. Zittel should be the commissioner of all boxing.
Hey, here's a PS.
Yeah, not Shawn Porter. You.